Curtis Selby's time. Breaking down the stories, every view will unwind. From left to right, we'll see the light. It's balance, we're chasing, no fighters fight. Curtis Selby, talking straight. Let's hear both sides, let's communicate. Politics and reason, let's find the truth. Curtis Selby's here to bridge it for you. Debates, insights, it's all on the screen. Curtis Selby, keeping it keen. Hit subscribe, stay a while, let's dive in deep with Curtis Selby. The combo's unique. The combo's unique. Debates, insights, it's all on the screen. Curtis Selby, keeping it keen. Hit subscribe, stay a while, let's dive in deep with Curtis Selby. The convo's unique. Curtis Selby, talking it straight. Let's hear both sides, let's communicate. Politics and reason, let's find the truth. Curtis Selby's here to bridge it for you. Debates, insights, it's all on the screen. Curtis Selby, keeping it keen. Hit subscribe, stay a while, let's dive in deep with Curtis Selby. The combo's unique. The combo's unique. The combo's unique.
Well, hail and well met, everybody. It is I, your tired midnight blogger, who blogs in this case at 5:03 p.m. I really don't mean to go for very long. There's people streaming at 7 that I want to not interrupt and want to be in their audience, but I felt like it's been a while since I've streamed, and I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about, but I decided that this was the topic I at least have the most interest in, for all kinds of reasons. First, I'll take care of the usual housekeeping stuff. You know, please like, please subscribe, please share, please consider being a member. I do have a goal of 5 super chats of any size. I will promise to do a watch party on Saturday. I may do one anyway, whether we get the money or not. But I promise that if we get 5 super chats, I will make a way to make a live stream on Saturday. One of my big sponsors, contributors, however you want to put it, is saying they're off Sunday, but I'm almost certain I work Sunday. But if I don't work Sunday, I may try to figure something out. And I have a poll, what you guys would like to watch for Saturday, in the likelihood that I do a watch party. Half of you are saying you'd like me to do a thing on Dark Shadows. 33% of you want to watch The Jackal. 17% of you say you want to watch Milk and Cereal, and nobody wants to watch Moonlight. Well, life goes on. Let's say hello to everyone in the chat, and we will dive into the topic. Sorry for the last minute of this. I've been busy as crap lately. Mostly good stuff, but some of it just kind of like, what the heck? Why is this happening? But you know what? As I said, life goes on. First person in here was Snortopus Cuber, my favorite bear. Hello, humans and other critters. Of course, saying hi back to everybody here. Snort is saying that Comey is a piece of work. I tend to agree with that, but as I said, I am going to make at least an effort to be fair. May fail, but I'm going to try. LDG, hashtag free the net, is saying go time. I'm hoping that means that he's got his app going, but maybe he means something else. We've also got Resolute German here. Hello, hello. We've got FKHC 2005. Some there are who call him Tim. And Resolute Germ. Goodness gracious. Okay, let's see if I can get down there quickly enough. I also want to say hello to Lizzie Armstrong. Was there one that I missed here? I want to make sure and catch this one. Snortopus Keeper, hail, and here's dinner. Snortopus, nom nom nom. Gorilla's Random Thoughts is kind of rightfully chastising me. Curtis, you blankety blank, I was going to take a nice long cold shower. No, you decided to stream. I guess I'll just listen as he rubs himself down. I hope all of you are enjoying that image. I am really tempted to cut the stream short and go vomit, but no, I'm just teasing, sort of. All right, we have everybody saying hello. We've got DJ Play Nice saying good evening. Salute. Tim is off Sunday. Saturday night works for me as he gets to sleep in Sunday. Okay, perfect. That's fantastic. Gorillas, sent me a DM. Feels like 3 weeks ago. I don't doubt it. I've been like so bad about. Yeah. Oh, hey. I see the stream now, which was Saturday. Holy crap. Actually, that does sound like. But what I really wanted to get to is to thank Resolute Germ for the 99-cent super sticker. He's got a smiley face with dollar signs. While I'm not getting rich doing this, you guys have been very generous. Thank you so much. You're all very, very kind. That too. People saying hi. Gorillas, you're welcome for that image. DJ Play Nice, y'all. Now's a good time. Share out the show. Send it to a friend or fiend. Post a bump on your own YouTube channel in the community tab. Resolute Germ, damn it, Gorilla, I'm trying to eat. You put that picture in my head. Gorilla as well, Germ. I thought I would help with your diet. All right, so we have discussed things. We have said hello to people in the chat. You are all wonderful people. Well, that's it. Good night. No. The reason why I chose this out of all of the topics, and there's so many, and the one that Gorillas has shared is actually a great topic. We really should do a stream on that, Gorillas. I don't know when. Tomorrow I'm working. Saturday I'm off. So I'd wanted to do a thing about the Constitution because I haven't done one in at least 2 weeks. But and if I get the 5 super chats, I promise sometime I'm going to do a movie Saturday. But Saturday, I know I'm off, and then I assume I work Sunday because that's what they've been scheduling me. I'm thinking I'll work Monday, and then after that, I have no idea. It seems to be not exactly random, but kind of quasi-random what the next one is. And we have DJ Play Nice sent a 99-cent super sticker. Let me see what that thing is. That thing is A smiley face with sunglasses. I wear my sunglasses at night. And I know YouTube doesn't, but I do count those because it's still contributing. And again, I'm not saying we absolutely won't do a movie on Saturday if I don't get the goal, but we absolutely will. I will make sure it happens if we get 5 super chats or super stickers or something. Uh, Maybe a membership granted or gifted. We've got Big Al Presents, who is, I believe, doing a show soon, and he's doing his 31 days under 310 words for October. 31 scary movies he's going to be reviewing, so please check him out. The stream Curtis is referring to is why Antifa and BLM are terrorist organizations in crayon eating terms. So you may already have the stream set up. Let me know if I'm not working. I will desperately try to find a way to be on the panel if I'm not working. All right, so let's dive into the topic. I know I keep saying that I'm trying to be less political, but this one, to me, this one is a very central. It's a crux question to me. One of the big questions that has been such a huge divide is, was Trump a Russian asset? And somewhere between 40 to 70% of the people, I'm not sure exactly what the real percentage is, somewhere between 40 and 70% of people say, hell no, he was not an asset. Roughly 40% of people, or less now, seem to be thinking and saying still that he was, and likely still is, a Russian asset. And you probably have 20 or 30% of people who, like I used to, really just don't know. They don't know who to believe. And you can't really blame them because it's like I was talking to my best friend, Tim Pool. I believe Gorillas, you or one of you guys had shared a Tim Pool video where one of Tim Pool's workers kind of was a referee for a debate between a pro Israel person and a pro Palestinian person. And I thought it was a great debate, but one of the problems with it was neither one could come to any grips with sources. The opposition sources were all a bunch of bunk, and my sources are great. And both were saying the same thing. And obviously, they can't both be right about sources. Possibly they're both wrong. So that's why I want to talk about this topic. I'm going to start because I'm really going to attempt to be fair. I have my own prejudice and thought about it. Probably all of you know what it is, but I do want to attempt to be fair because I want to try to get back to the old idea of let's look at both sides sources and see what's going on, or if we can figure out what's going on. And if we can't, at least we can figure out what does the other side think, and how can we be decent people to someone that thinks so drastically differently when the sources are so different. So I'm going to start with PBS. I personally am not a big fan of them as a source anymore. But again, in the interest of fairness, this is what we will learn from OETA. The Trump's administration's full indictment of the former FBI director Comey. There's several sources where you can find the indictment. I may not necessarily read the whole thing, but if you're looking for the actual indictment, This is a source for it. New York Associated Press, President Donald Trump's unprecedented retribution campaign. Not telling us what to think. Thank you, PBS. Against his perceived political enemies, reached new heights as his Justice Department brought criminal charges against a longtime foe, and he expanded his efforts to classify certain liberal groups as domestic terrorist organizations, which was what Gorillas was talking about. Let me get caught up in chat before I look at the indictment. I don't want to read the whole thing, I'm sure, because I've I've tried that before and it ended up just being boring to tears. Informative, yes, but boring to tears. Resolute Germs, good news. Starting Saturday, I start back streaming at least 3 or 4 times a week. Huzzah! That's fantastic. Gorilla says not yet. I was waiting for a response. I yeah, my bad. My bad. I am doing a terrible job with my social media. I wonder who else I haven't responded. I'll look at that later though. Like I say, Saturday, just if you want to do Saturday, just pick a time. And if we don't want to do Saturday, we'll figure it out next week. But so DJ Play Nice, easy answer, no. Nope. Shake snoot. Tim, nope. He's doing things that needed to be done, but no one had the guts to do. Gorilla's random thoughts. I sent it to you as the Culture War episode. The Culture War episode. Culture War. Maybe the Culture War episode. Okay, I'll have to look for that later. People saying hello and hello, hail, Connie Cleary. Burr, are you well? Everyone's saying hello. All right. So, and Connie, I'm going to desperately try to be done soon. I don't want to interfere with movie night tonight, but I wanted to get something streamed before too long. So, in fact, I won't read the indictment, but except for this first little part. Count 1, false statements within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the United States government. Comey Jr. did willfully and knowingly make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States by falsely stating to U.S. Senator during his Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that he, James B. Comey Jr., had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigating concerning person 1, who I assume is Donald Trump, but I won't go too deep into it. So if I'm wrong, my apologies. 2, that statement was false because as James B. Comey Jr. then and there knew, he in fact had authorized person 3, whoever that is, to serve as an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning person 1. 3, all in violation of Law 18 U.S.C. 1001 A2, blah, 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 blah. Since I am in a little bit of a hurry, I may come back to the article, but I wanted to share this from 2CTV. Going back to what sources do you trust? Maybe I'm wrong too, but 2CTV is one of the sources that I trust. So I wanted to share what he had shared earlier. I believe this was, yes, 6 days ago. So not long after the whole indictment thing had started. Let me know if the sound is okay.
Over the last few minutes, we got the confirmation that James Comey has been indicted on 2 counts that was sought by prosecutors. 1 count of making false statements and another count of obstruction of justice. The documents.
Okay, now I want to skip ahead to this part. 2C is sharing something, so I'm sharing something that's being shared. I'm sure that's bad scholarship, but
2017.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication. They did it with overwhelming technical efforts. And it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on.
okay. Now, this is, to me, this is a big part of the crux. Was that a true thing? And if it wasn't true, did he know that it wasn't true? Now, the indictment has got another little issue, though. In fact, the first issue that PBS brings up is that, okay, let me go back to it. Hopefully I was smart enough to leave it open. Yes. Basically, he authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports. I've kind of skipped over it, but he has denied that that's so. This is from Capitol Hill, June 8, 2017.
To anyone outside.
He obviously testified. It testified that he hoped it would prompt the appointment of a special counsel. This is James Comey in 2017.
Did you show copies of your memos to anyone outside of the Department of Justice?
Yes.
And to whom did you show copies?
I asked, President tweeted on Friday after I got fired that I better hope there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night on Monday night, because it didn't dawn on me originally, that there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel. And so I asked a close friend of mine to do it.
Okay, now again, going back to PBS, who's sharing the indictment, one of the indictments, and to me, honestly, one of the less important things, because what I really want to know is about the Russian collusion thing. If it's fake, then I want people lined up and things to happen to them that are applicable to justice. If it is true that Trump was a Russian colluder, then there's a different ball of wax. But according to the indictment, in violation of Law 18 U.S.C. 1001, he authorized a person to serve as an anonymous news source. And here he is saying right there on live TV on the Capitol Hill, June 8, 2017, he's saying that he did. What do you make of that? Does that mean that he should be found guilty of at least that indictment, or the mitigating circumstances that make it so that we shouldn't care about this? Gorillas is going to be in Iowa this weekend. Awesome. Iowa Great Lakes may be down to Forest City. Tim, typically Connie has a movie on her Cosme channel. She may be doing it on YouTube sometimes, but mostly I just see it in her Cosme channel. And I'm trying desperately hard to be done before that movie starts. So Gorillas, we're back to an anonymous source. They used to say a person close to the office, which just meant the homeless person digging in the dumpster out back. And that's I would say that that's true, but we have him right here on live TV, unless you're going to tell me that Tusi is photoshopping this, we have him right there saying exactly what he was just indicted for. I know I'm not a lawyer. I know I'm just a simple man, but to my stupid eyes, at least that indictment should be a slam dunk. It's right there. Him admitting to having done it. Connie Cleary, Tim Hale, that was yesterday. Tonight will be, okay, you're doing something different today. We'll be with April of Sci-Fi Mom, be reading the Orville comic book. There you are. But I want to try not to compete with that if I can at all get this done before then. So yeah, and Friday is when the movie is. In my mind, it's Friday because I'm working tomorrow. I'm weird. I need help. Okay, so Gorillas, maybe some weekend, meet halfway for a beer. Series, both Gorilla for sure. I have friends in Sioux City. Don't go up very often, but would love to meet up with you sometime. If he has a pic of the person, then it's not an anonymous source. Then, yeah, it exactly. He chose a specific person who is a friend of his. Again, according to his own testimony, right here. So I don't know what all this anonymous source stuff is. It's right out of his mouth. So I mean, again, maybe that law is a big pile of crap, or maybe it has been revoked by the Biden administration or something. I don't know. But I'm not an attorney. But again, simple-minded Curtis reads the indictment, and I just watched this on Tusi, and I was like, dude, you admitted to this part of it. And yes, please thumbs up the live. And Connie, please feel free to leave a link so people can go there, and what have you, so they can cleanse their palate of all my political Comey trashing. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to PBS and at least talk a little more about what PBS has to say. Okay, so not reading any more of the indictment for now because I'm in a hurry. But days after Trump publicly demanded action from his attorney general and tapped his former personal lawyer to serve as the top personal federal prosecutor in Virginia, former FBI Director James Comey, a longtime target of Trump's ire, no idea why, was indicted by a grand jury for allegedly lying to Congress during testimony in 2020. The thing I want to remind everybody of is he is also the reason why, frankly, why Trump won in the first place. I don't know if any of you remember, but he was the one that brought up all the goofy Hillary computer crap. And Trump brought up it's going to be the biggest scandal it's ever been. It's going to be bigger than Watergate. Hillary has done bad things. She's going to be lucky if she's not in jail. And the vote shifted and switched. And while he didn't win the popular vote, he won the electoral vote. And a lot of people blame Comey for that. But then Comey turns around and says all this stuff about the Steele dossier. So here's my question. Does it seem weird to all of you that at least at that time, who the heck was he trying to help? What was his game? And this is one of the things I've never really figured out. I no longer believe that we can trust anything that he says, but he seemed to have something to hurt Hillary, He had something to hurt Trump. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the analytic skill to be able to say, well, he was trying to play both sides, although that's what I suspect. But what in the hell was his game? He had dirt on both people. I don't know. Was he trying to be another J. Edgar Hoover? Hours earlier, Trump signed a memorandum directing his Republican administration to target backers of what he dubbed left-wing terrorism, as he alleged, without evidence. Going back to, I'm just going to go back to the debate that I talked about earlier. They say there's no evidence. I personally have seen sources that I trust that give me what I think is ample evidence. I'm assuming one of two things here with PBS. I'm not meaning to do your thinking. I'm just throwing out my thoughts. Please tell me if there's a third option. One option is either PBS knows about those sources and thinks that they're just discredited, or two, PBS doesn't know about those sources, and in that case, their reporting is bad because they should know about it, since I know about it. The third option that comes to mind, I don't really want to say. The developments marked a dramatic escalation of the president's extraordinary use of the levers of presidential power to target his political rivals and his efforts to pressure the Justice Department to pursue investigations and now prosecutions of those he disdains. I want to point out there's nothing in this. In fact, I'll finish this paragraph. It's an unabashed campaign that began soon after Trump returned to office, and one that critics see as an abuse of power that puts every American who dares to criticize the president at risk of retaliation. I would suggest that the only piece of actual reporting in this paragraph is the section that says that this action is one that critics see as an abuse of power. It's still not really reporting because, you know, who, what, when, where, and why. Who are the critics? What did they say? When did they say it? But it's the closest thing to actual reporting. All of the rest of that is just speculation and hyperbole. Maybe to you, all of that is self-evident and obvious, but I'm going to assure you that to roughly 40% of the population, all of that is balderdash. That is why reporting has to be the way it has to be. You have to get the who, what, the when, the where, the why, or it's not really reporting. You're just giving me your opinion. Well, yeah, but then it's an editorial. I don't see anything in here that says anything about editorial. It's by Jill Colvin of the Associated Press. The AP used to be known and renowned for centralist reporting. That whole paragraph's just editorial. If I were the editor, I would tell her that paragraph is out or you're fired. Not because it makes Trump look bad, but because it's not reporting. What do they teach at journalism schools these days? Okay. Let me skip ahead a little bit. In 2016, okay, Thursday's moves. Oh man, there's so much just crap here. Okay, here's a quote. Although, okay, so here's a quote. Donald Trump has made clear that he intends to turn our justice system into a weapon for punishing and silencing his critics, said Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. I don't know if you remember, but if I remember correctly, he's the one that grilled Tulsi Gabbard. the guy has no credibility in my eyes. Now, that doesn't really matter. You may think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I may be the one that's mistaken. The opinion doesn't matter. The reporting, at least they're doing some here. That's the statement by that guy. And that guy is the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee. The Comey indictment came less than a week after Trump installed a former White House aide and confidant to the role of U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia. The president had forced the ouster of his previous hand-selected pick because he was not sufficiently responsive to calls from Trump to bring charges against his longtime targets. How do we know that? Again, this is not reporting. Did Trump say that? Did the person that was fired say that? Or is it just the reporter's speculation? My friends, I'm losing patience really fast, but there's reasons why a lot of us on the right no longer want to listen to PBS and NPR. There are reasons why we don't give a crap that it's been defunded. Because if this is the kind of reporting we're going to get from them, I really don't care for my taxpayer payments to go to it. I, as a tired blogger, give you better reporting than that. And yeah, it's thrown in with a lot of opinions, but come on, guys. We have to make sure to bring this up. The first former president convicted of a felony. What does that got to do with Comey's indictment? Can somebody tell me that? Because I didn't think it was the FBI. Was it? Is there something I missed? Is there a news story I missed? Was it the FBI that brought those charges? I know the FBI raided his house, but that had nothing to do with his conviction of a felony. It's a totally separate issue. The first former president convicted of a felony for falsifying business records to hide hush money payments to conceal an alleged affair. A lot of qualifiers in there. Trump won the White House despite a host of other legal troubles over his alleged retention of classification information after leaving the White House in 2021 and his role in stoking denials of his 2020 electoral defeat that culminated in the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Now, while that is an example of reporting, to me, it's an example of irrelevant reporting. I know all of this. I don't need to be reminded of this. Even if I was anti-Trump, I would be losing patience with this. I get that a lot of the anti-Trump people are not losing patience with it. Evidently, they can't get enough of hearing these words. But I'm one of these people that if you tell me so many things over and over and over again, I either need to understand the justification for why I'm hearing it over again, or I lose patience with you. And I'm long since lost patience with this. Is not reporting, this is rhetoric. And it's not even good rhetoric. And that's not a reporter's job. I hope you all will forgive me, but partly because I'm in a hurry, I've lost patience. This article, which by the way was the top article on my Google search, this is crap. It hasn't really told me a damn thing that I wouldn't have known 2 weeks ago, waking up from a bourbon infused sleep. Okay, sorry. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about. You're probably like, Curtis, what the hell? Gap After Dark. Hey, hello, somebody new, at least to me. I hope you are doing well, evidently. I hope you all, and hello to Suzanne. I hope you're doing well. Meet you all the way. Susanna, yeah. So what Gap After Dark has to say is Trump's longtime lawyer is really a Democrat operative, even though he switched parties. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that, but I would be interested in knowing what you know and what you think about it. And you don't have to agree with the things I'm saying. It's just I get very critical of bad reporting anymore, and it does happen on both sides. Lauren, hello. Trump has been out on bail, held on bond for more than 2 years. Foster bail bonds, Lawrenceville, Georgia, $200,000, August 2023. I hope he isn't put on trial or held accountable after his term is over. I think I know I don't know exactly who you are, but I've seen that style of retort before. I thank you for throwing factual information. However, one, it still has nothing to do with the indictment on Comey, because that indictment, that being out on bail, was a state, not a federal thing. It only became a federal thing because they basically made it one specifically. It wasn't the FBI. So, and even if it was, Comey had been fired a long time before. So, what's it got to do with Comey's indictment? Please riddle me that. Oh, okay. Saw my post in the group chat. Okay, cool. Basically, in a nutshell, Trump's longtime lawyer, they think, is going to try to sabotage Trump. And I'm glad you're bringing that up, because I don't like to talk about that, but this is where one of the big divides between the two sides. One side will say, and I don't know what side you're on, Gap, and hopefully I don't say anything too stupid here, but one side has said since, I don't even know, since 2016, 17, 18, that Trump is so stupid and so evil and so bad and so fascist and so this and so that, that even the people that work for him just can't stand him, and he still says and does all these stupid things. And then you've got people on the right who have been saying he did a terrible job in his first term, and this is where I stand. He did a terrible job of picking people who were not loyal to him, not loyal to the right, not loyal to the people, I would say, and did anything they could to sabotage him. I did a stream earlier about the little snafu with the Signal app thing, and I don't know where anybody stands on that, but I think at least it is very obvious to me, and I won't do it on this stream, but we can talk about it again at some point if enough people want to. That was somebody setting up the administration to look stupid. It was that pure and simple. Now we can argue if they should have been fooled so easily, or if they should have done something better. That's all something that could be argued, but I think it's very plain that there are still, or at least at that point, we're still bad apples that we're trying to make Trump look bad. And maybe that's not a bad thing. I'm sure that there's people that, if Trump is a fascist, as they say, if he is a bad person, as they say, then it's okay to make him look bad, because he is bad. So all we're really doing is showing it to you, right? Right? Suzanne, I'm well today, Curtis. Thanks. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. I pray for you. Again, there are days when I forget to pray, but when I remember to pray, most of you people in here are someone I pray for every day. I'm not a saint. I'm not claiming to be. It's just I'm trying to do better about certain spiritual things, and I believe I should be praying more often. So there it is. For what it's worth, Snort, in my humble opinion, Trump is too susceptible to flattery. And I would concur with that. He lets people fool him into appointing them, and I would concur with that. I think he did better this term, but yeah, he's not. Even though I'm on his side, even though I'm pro-Trump, he is not above criticism, and he has definitely done plenty of things. To quote to quote um, oh hell, I'm having a senior moment. Joe Rogan, to quote Joe Rogan, Trump, you say some stupid shit. And hello, to Charlotte Night Star, the werewolf. All right. So we dealt with PBS, maybe unfairly. I've tossed them out of the channel out of hand. I tried to be fair. I promise I did. I didn't read that. In fact, I've not read hardly any of this. I watched the Tusi video, but I really haven't read much of this stuff. I'm trying to learn about it along with you, as I am prone to do, which is both why I'm popular to some and not so popular to others. All right, let's go to the other side. We do any better? Oh, somebody's Spocktoberfest. Yes, that's true. Oktoberfest is coming up, and I won't have to work it in the alcohol industry this year. Okay, so Fox News. Flashback, James Comey urged officials to always prosecute high-profile perjury cases. The irony is that I really did pick the PBS one in the hopes of it being centrist. I was wrong. We'll see how well I did with Fox. I picked it on the deliberate thought of seeing what the right had to say about it. This is by Diana Stancy. Please be a better reporter. Please be a better reporter. But we'll find out. To protect the institution of justice and reinforce a culture of truth telling, she had to be prosecuted. This is a quote of Comey, who wrote that about Martha Stewart. So definitely she's got her bias. It's there, but at least she has a quote. So that's something. I'm not going to play this video. Hey, I've seen this guy. I love that hair. That just looks like it's the anti-Curtis right there. Comey knowingly lied in an important congressional testimony. Todd Blanche, U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, discusses the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey on Sunday night in America. And I have to go through a paywall. Crap. I thought I was part of this, actually. Come on, Fox. I sometimes hate the internet. There are reasons why some people are left-wing, you know, and this is one of them right here. But having said that, everybody seems to be doing that, trying to hide behind paywalls so us small creators can't seem to get anything done. All right. Okay, so now I'm logged into Fox News. Yay, verily yay. All right. My channel with your freaking advertisements. Thank you, Fox. Thank you, Fox. Thank you for destroying me.
Attorney General Todd Blanche.
All right. And there's reasons why I used to try to be centrist, because they're both jerks. Okay, former FBI Director James Comey, who was indicted Friday a week ago. The news. On 2 federal charges alleging he issued a false statement to Congress and obstructed justice. Previously, it has called for those who lie under oath to face consequences. For example, Comey once railed, now again, that's not a great word to use as a reporter, but at least they're sharing a fact here. Comey once said some things against lifestyle icon Martha Stewart, who was convicted of misleading federal investigators, said her case served as an example to deter others from lying to officials. We just read the quote up above. Quote, the Stewart experience reminded me that the justice system is an honor system, Comey wrote in his book, A Higher Loyalty, released in 2018. We really can't always tell when people are lying or hiding documents. So when we are able to prove it, we simply must do so as a message to everyone. People must fear the consequences of lying in the justice system, or the system can't work. And I just presented to you that we saw him with our own eyes. Anyway, there once was a time when most people worried about going to hell if they violated an oath taken in the name of God, Comey wrote. That divine deterrence has slipped away from our modern cultures. In its place, people must fear going to jail. To protect the institution of justice and reinforce a culture of truth-telling, she had to be prosecuted. Comey served as the lead prosecutor who indicted Stewart on charges of obstruction of justice and lying to the FBI in 2003, which stemmed from the FBI's insider trading investigation into Stewart's friend's company, I Am Clone. Stewart ultimately was convicted on 4 counts of obstructing justice and lying to investigators. She was sentenced to 5 months in prison. Here she is, my next ex-wife, Martha Stewart, who is convicted of misleading federal investigators. Comey's statement in his book aligns with those he made at the time. After the charges were filed against Stewart in 2003, Comey said Stewart's case is about lying to the FBI, lying to the SEC and investors. That is conduct that will not be tolerated. Martha Stewart is being prosecuted not because of who she is, but what she did, Comey said at a news conference in 2003. Stewart took a swipe at Comey in her Netflix documentary called Martha, which was released in October of 2024. Quote, it was so horrifying to me that I had to go through that to be a trophy for these idiots in the U.S. Attorney's Office, Stewart said. Fox News Digital reached out to Comey for comment and has yet to receive a reply. Meanwhile, Comey's feud with President Donald Trump is also back in the spotlight following Comey's indictment. The two men have gone head-to-head against each other for years, dating back to Trump's first administration, amid the FBI's investigation into whether Russia interfered in the 2016 election. They've continued to trade barbs during Trump's second term. While Trump has lobbed out terms like sick person and untruthful slime ball, Comey has also hurled criticism against the president and said he's not fit for office. For example, Comey described Trump as someone who lies constantly about matters big and small and insists the American people believe it. What do you think about that? Is that true? I used to would have agreed with it. Now, I don't know. I don't know how often he lies. He exaggerates a lot. Is that acceptable? It seems like to the right, I'll be frank, to me, that is acceptable. Because there's hyperbole on the left. I mean, and you guys want us to accept that there's hyperbole that the left just says. And we can go into that if we really need to. But anyway, we question whether Trump embodies U.S. values during an interview in April 2018 with ABC News ahead of the release of his book, Higher Loyalty. It's not an ostentatious name at all. Quote, I don't think he's medically unfit to be president. I think he's morally unfit to be president. That's not a policy statement, Comey told ABC News. Again, I don't care what your views are on guns or immigration or taxes. There's something more important than that should unite all of us, and that is our president must embody respect and adhere to the values that are at the core of this country, and most important, being truth. This president is not able to do that. So I'm going to basically stop there on this one, partly again because I'm a little bit in a hurry, but is that true? I mean, I think it is all. The funny thing is, what he says is true on the surface. If the man had, I know I talk about it all the time, ethos, pathos, logos. If James Comey had ethos with me, then I would completely take that statement because on the surface of it, it's true. In other words, America, the West, most societies are based off of honesty, off of not lying. That's true. But then is Comey saying the truth or not? Suzanne says, thank you. I feel the prayers. I hope you do. I hope you do. Charlotte is howling at us. Ooh! Gorillas, did you see the Vance's negotiation to Timu Obama, aka Hakimi Jeffries? He told him that if he votes to reopen the government, the sombrero memes would stop. What? I saw none of that. In fact, not much of that made any sense to me. Yes, please feel free to sub to everybody's channel, really. But since she was kind enough to share it, please be sure you're sub to Charlotte. Love you all. Keep being amazing people as you are. Curtis, have a great stream, dear lovely friend. Thank you. You're so much. You're too kind. You're too kind. And Suzanne just subbed to Charlotte, so that is awesome. Uh-oh, we got Curtis's email. Let's spam him. Yeah, sorry. I get plenty of spam as it is. None of you are the particular 25-year-old from California that's always asking me if I'll move out there and be your husband, are you? I didn't think so. Half my family loves Trump, while half want him dragged out of the White House and tossed in jail. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate. That's the unfortunate truth of the time we live in. And both sides think the other side is crazy and evil and bad, or at least they do somewhere in the back of their mind, because it can't. We can't accept that the other side is accepting a bunch of lies. And again, this is whichever side is right, if either one is. I really did want to do a little better job of being centrist on this one, but I'm not saying that this Fox News report is stellar, but largely it is actual reporting with very little editorializing. You can see the slant, yes, but they're putting up their slant within a context of reporting. There was a time when PBS would have been the stellar example of that, and Fox would have been the ones with all the hyperbole, and now we don't see that. So let's move to the next thing. Hi. It's tempting to just play more 2C TV. All right. Again, trying to be centrist. Let's see what the Politico has to say. And I wanted to pick this one because even though I don't know the content, the The headline lets me know that it's probably got at least a little bit of a left of land of center slant, and I'm actually I promise trying to give that side a forum, but I'm no longer willing to tolerate bad reporting and crap and say, oh, it's okay because I don't know. I don't even know why bad reporting is acceptable. I don't get it. I don't get it. So, why the case may end in humiliation for Trump's DOJ? And that's a premise that I can accept as a possibility. If they haven't done a good job of setting up the case, it could. One former prosecutor said this case should never go to trial. I would suggest that there's a lot of right wingers who said that a lot of Trump's cases should never have went to trial. But again, let's see what they have to report. Legal experts, I'm trying to keep it out. Legal experts are expressing deep doubts about the criminal case filed against former FBI Director James Comey, seen here testifying in 2017. The indictment of James Comey, ordered up by President Donald Trump in a breathtaking breach of Justice Department independence. Well, we know the slant is being welcomed with glee in MAGA circles. Now, I want to ask you a question. Did the Fox article look like that was glee? I'm just asking. Please give me your honest opinions, because I know what I think, but maybe you saw something I didn't. The case against the former FBI director and longtime Trump nemesis may quickly end in disappointment and even humiliation. Not that we would want that. We don't want that for him. Honestly, we don't. For the prosecutor who was conscripted by the president to bring the charges. The bare bones indictment secured by that prosecutor, Trump loyalist Lindsay Halligan, is exceptionally weak, former prosecutors and legal experts say. Fundamental problems with the case itself, as well as the unusual events that preceded the indictment, will make it difficult to bring Comey to trial, let alone secure a conviction. Former federal terrorism prosecutor Andy McCarthy called the charges poorly done and predicted they will be thrown out by a judge well before any trial. The whole thing is just bizarro, McCarthy said. This is the kind of thing that should never, ever happen. This case should never go to trial. This doesn't sound, what really is baffling me? People get on to Trump for saying stuff like this, but then when your own side says it, we just take it as fact. And then they get baffled because they see the right taking Trump saying this goofy crap as fact, and around it goes. In fact, it would be really easy to make this a Trump thing. This whole thing is just bizarro. This is the kind of thing that should never ever happen. This is the most unjust case that's ever happened. There's never been a case this unjust. This case should never go to trial. It's obvious from the four corners of the indictment that there's no case. I mean, am I wrong? Or is this just Trumpism on the other side? Please let me know in comments. Have I just gone crazy at last? The issues that could doom the case include the overt political pressure, which, hey, I will give them that. Halligan's own inexperience, which I don't know enough about it, but that would be bad. Peculiarities in the indictment itself, and a 5-year-old technology issue. This is something I don't know about. So let's take a look at these challenges. Shortly after the charges were unveiled Thursday evening, Comey all but dared the Trump administration, let's have a trial, he said in a video posted on Instagram. But in all likelihood, he and his attorneys will spend the next few months seeking to crush the case against him before it ever reaches a jury. Judges have the authority to throw out a criminal case at an early stage of the proceedings if they find that the charges are not supported by sufficient evidence or that prosecutors violated the constitutional rights of the defendant, which doesn't sound at all like anything that happened to Trump. One way to get a case dismissed is to argue it's the product of a selective or vindictive prosecution. Once again, does any of that sound familiar? Just on the other side. It's notoriously difficult to have a case tossed on that basis because defendants must show that prosecutors acted on improper motives and influences. Trump tried unsuccessfully to get his own criminal charges dismissed on these grounds. And here's what you're getting wrong, Politico. Eventually, he got every damn one of those charges dismissed. Every last one. So this is misreporting. Well, yeah, but it wasn't until he was elected. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The why isn't really so much what matters, unless you're going to go much more in depth. Every last one of those charges was dropped. Now, it may not have been on those grounds. In Comey's case, there's ample public evidence that the charges were not the result of prosecutors' neutral assessment of the facts. Rather, they appear to have been brought to the behest of a president seeking to use prosecutorial muscle to settle an old score. I'm going to skip down because honestly, it may be a good point, and it probably is a good point. But to be blunt, I'm more intrigued by the other reasons because I would be much more easily persuaded by some other actual facts other than this whole he said, she said that's kind of bugging the crap out of me anymore. Scant evidence. Comey is charged with 2 felonies, making a false statement and obstructing a congressional proceeding. Both charges stem from testimony that Comey gave to the Senate Judiciary Committee on September 2020 about the FBI's probe of Russian links to Trump's 2016 campaign. But the indictment is devoid of any details about how Comey's testimony can be proven to be a criminal lie. Now, again, we read part of the indictment, and he said he admitted to doing the thing that the indictment said that he did. This is where simple-minded Curtis just doesn't get it. If you want to say that that law is invalid, again, I'm willing to listen to that. We have the law. The law says you can't do this. We have him admitting on TV to doing it. So how is that weak evidence? I'm baffled. I'm totally baffled. Connie, sounds like dad's side of the family. Susanna, call him a grandson, hates him, calls him a criminal. Connie, we are Canadian. Right on. Connie, I'm like you on Trump. Cool. Gorilla's random thoughts by expats. They shopped around till they found someone willing to say what they wanted. Gorillas, and I'm tempted to agree with you on this. Let's give them the same kind of trial Trump got. 80% chance the jury hates you. Judge's family makes millions on the trial. Can't submit evidence, etc., etc. It's tough for me because I understand legalese just enough to say that maybe this is a point. Maybe if I read more of the indictment, I would agree because there weren't the little bit I read, there weren't a lot of details. But again, I can't help but go back to Tusi showing him admitting, and frankly, let's go back up here. So he's charged with 2 felonies, making a false statement and obstructing a congressional proceeding. Now, I can only assume that the obstruction is when he told somebody in his employ to leak something. And I guess I could see that as being weak, because how does that obstruct Congress? That's something I've got to do more thinking about. But again, we have the law. We have him admitting to doing the thing that the law says is against the law. I guess the law doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. The indictment doesn't contain a single quote that Comey allegedly uttered. That would not be great, even to simple-minded Curtis. During the hearing in question, in response to Senator Ted Cruz, Comey stated, "I stand by the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017. Unquote. That was a reference to an earlier hearing in which Comey told Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa that he had not authorized anyone in the FBI to speak anonymously to the press. Again, we just showed him admitting that he did authorize someone to speak anonymously to the press. So I guess that's the time that he lied. I mean, he didn't just break that law, because if he said that he did not do that, and now he admits over here that he did do that, then yeah, he lied. Now, maybe that's all taken out of context. Maybe there's something else, but I think Politico is actually trying to show the weakness of it, but they actually gave me more evidence for saying that it's okay to have this indictment against him. Some Trump supporters have argued that Comey lied when he said he stood by the earlier testimony. They believe Comey did authorize his deputy FBI director, Andrew McCabe, to leak information about the Clinton probe to the Wall Street Journal. And again, up over here on Tulsi, he admitted he did have a friend leak information. It may not have been in this case. I need to do more digging for that, but Comey and McCabe have provided differing accounts of a conversation the two men had on the day after the Journal published a story on the probe. There's no indication McCabe ever claimed he got advance permission from Comey for any leak, other than, what we just saw. Complicating the matter, Cruz's question to Comey during the 2020 hearing was ambiguous. Cruz apparently misquoted Grassley and asked Comey about the Clinton administration. Cruz seems to have meant to refer to an FBI probe into the Clinton Foundation. At the 2017 hearing, Grassley was focused on the higher profile investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server. And I suppose there's that possibility too, that he may have been asked something about one case and answered it about the other. So then my question is, one, is that worthy of an indictment, whether we like him or not, or whether we, I'll be blunt. I want him indicted, but I don't want him indicted for stupid reasons. I want him indicted for lying to us about what the FBI did in 2020 and for lying to us about the Steele dossier. Just saying. According to this, Halligan is not very experienced. He has no career prosecutors put their names on the Comey's case. Typically, federal indictments are signed by assistant U.S. attorneys, the rank and file prosecutors who specialize in specific areas of criminal law and who may have spent months or years building the case. But the Comey indictment was signed only by Halligan, a longtime insurance lawyer who had no prosecutorial experience when she was sworn in as interim U.S. attorney on Monday. Halligan is best known in Trump world for being the first attorney present when the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago. Ahead of criminal charges Trump faced for hoarding classified documents there after his first term ended. More recently, she'd been combing through Smithsonian offerings to ensure they align with Trump's agenda. It is unclear whether any career lawyers in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Virginia agreed with the decision to seek charges against Comey or will be willing to help conduct the day-to-day work of the prosecution. Prosecutors can face professional sanction, including disbarment, for bringing a case without a valid basis. So here's what I would like to tell you guys on the left. If you're gloating about the possibility of this person being disbarred, I hope you are okay with me feeling just a little twinge of happiness when people who prosecuted Trump get disbarred. Just saying. Insults from the White House. Those just go without saying, but let's read it. Just as Trump's pre-indictment comments may have tainted the Comey case, his post-indictment gloating may further derail it. When criminal cases are underway, federal prosecutors and their bosses usually clam up. In the Trump era, the cautionary norm has disappeared, and Trump, who has long castigated Comey, has piled on in the hours after the indictment. Yeah, that's a Trump failing. On Thursday night, the president called Comey one of the worst human beings. By Friday morning, he was doing legal analysis of the case, calling the alleged false statement not a complex lie. It's a very simple but important one, which, to be honest, the little bit of digging I've done kind of sounds like that's true. Then, speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump branded Comey, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to come out and admit this is actually bad. This isn't bad reporting, but it's bad form for Trump to say it, but I'll say it. Comey was a dirty cop. He was totally a dirty cop. And they're all of these news forms are doing a terrible job of pointing it out, but look, when I learned that the Steele dossier was fake, I lost every last shred of faith I had in the left, the Democrat Party. I'm sorry, but that should not be allowed to stand. Now, this indictment does sound like it may be a big goofy thing instead of an actual indictment of the Steele dossier, which I can't imagine why they wouldn't have enough information to indict on that. With Tulsi on the inside and everything, I can't imagine why. Unless Comey's got so much dirt on so many prosecutors that just nobody wants to prosecute. I don't know. We don't know what the witness said. Jury skepticism. How the hell do we even know what the jury thinks already? The Justice Department already appears to have encountered some pushback. The jurors, okay, so they had a grand jury who approved the 2-count indictment. Those jurors rejected a third charge, an allegation that Comey lied during the same hearing when he appeared to deny having read a report sent to top FBI officials in September 2016. Trump, why the hell are you charging him for stuff in 2016? We've got him caught lying about the Steele dossier. We've got people who are willing to testify about the collusion with the FBI in the 2020 January 6th stuff. That's what you need to be indicting him about. And if you can't indict him on that, then don't indict him at all. All right, let's see what you poor long-suffering folks are saying in here. Gorillas, crap, gotta go, no Twilight Zone tonight. Gotta run to Sheldon. Oh, Gorillas, I'm so sorry. So, I want to look at one more quick thing. More and more, This guy has become one of my go-tos. 2CTV is one. The other one here is Matt Taibbi. Maybe I rely on him too much. Let me know in the chat if you think I do. But let's see what he had to say about James Comey. I suspect this will be the best and most legit reporting that we'll look at tonight. But all right, I mean, maybe not. Matt Taibbi on Jim Comey. Think of the national security implications of implying that your own president is a spy for a foreign country. You can't let that go on. That's in this video. I won't play it. Investigative journalist Matt Taibbi joined Jesse Waters on Friday night to discuss the James Comey indictments. Taibbi blasted Comey for leaking false documents to the leftist press, accusing President Trump of being a Russian spy. This was something Comey knew was factually incorrect, yet he took these actions to take down a sitting U.S. president. The criminal charges against Comey are much more serious than what the media is reporting. In a previous time in American history, Comey, bad things would happen to Comey. Matt Taibbi, quote, people have to remember, what is the substance of these lies? What were they for? These news stories that were put out there were leaked to the press. The thrust of them was that Donald Trump was under the throes of a foreign government. He was a Russian agent. Think of the national security implications of implying that your own president is a spy for a foreign country. Would that be tolerated in any normal country? Unquote. Or no, there's more to the quote. You cannot let that go on. You can't have an FBI director doing these kinds of things and engaging these sorts of manipulations and lying to Congress about it and getting away with it. Jesse Waters, whose hair is just wonderful. Yeah, he basically framed him as a traitor. What's the punishment for treason? We all know what that is. I mean, this is the worst thing you can possibly do. Matt Taibbi. One thing I think we're learning during the Russiagate period is that James Comey has a peculiar vanity that I think is often his undoing, which we just said was true about Trump, and I still do think is true about Trump. But going back to what Taibbi says, he often thinks that he's being clever when he's not. He often thinks that he's showing tremendous rectitude when he's actually looking like a phony on television. The more exposure that he gets for himself, I think actually the more it will redound to Trump's benefit. As far as I'm concerned, it's good if he's on television more during this period. And that is basically James Holt, founder and editor of the Gateway Pundit. It's a news outlet. Not great reporting, maybe, but not terrible either, because really all he did was share what these people said. Now, he may have over exaggerated when he said the criminal charges against Comey are much more serious than what the media is reporting. I guess if we really want to know the truth of it, as much as I hate to do it, we kind of have to go back to the PBS on James Comey because they have the indictment there. And I could not find any right-wing sources. And I can hear my left-wing friends now, well, of course you can't, because they're not going to report that way. But where's the indictment? What did they do? Take it down? Justice Department, PBS on James Comey. Did I finally go crazy? Because I remember looking right at it. It was in this article. And now it's not. The indictment was right there. Well, I'm sure somebody's got it. Indictment of James Comey. Publicrecords.com. Ah, here we go. This was the article. All right. I kind of hate to bore you guys, but I don't see any other way to actually get at the truth. Okay, so count one, false statements within the jurisdiction. On or about September 30th, 2020, the defendant, and I am going to skip a few words, but the defendant, James Comey, did willfully, knowfully make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government by falsely stating to U.S. Senator during Senate Judiciary Committee that he, James Comey, had, quote, not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports, unquote, regarding an FBI investigating concerning person one. It doesn't say who person one is. So anyway, well, I'm going to assume that was Trump. Again, we watched on 2CTV where he admits that he did, in fact, authorize someone to be an anonymous source. And now that source is no longer anonymous. But anyway, two, that statement was false. We saw that with our own eyes because he, is James B. Comey Jr., then and there knew he in fact had authorized person three to serve as an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning person one. Three, all this is in violation of a U.S. statute. So count two. On or about September 30th, 2020, in that district, defendant James Comey did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede the due and proper exercise of the power of inquiry under which an investigation was being had before the Senate Judiciary Committee by making false and misleading statements before that committee. All that is in a violation of such and such of a law. So I'll let you guys be the jury. You look at that indictment, you look at what I've shared, you look at what you guys know about the case. Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? Because if I'm acting as the judge, which I'm not, but I'm the host on this YouTube channel, so I suppose I'm as close to a judge as we've got. It's really kind of up to you guys. Is there enough? With the evidence of our own eyes, is there enough to convict him of that first count? And that second count, yeah, it's kind of vague, but I would say that if I was able to do it in earlier web streams, I would say even a half-assed attorney should be able to establish it in court. In other words, where I'm going with this, that the Steele dossier was fake, that he knew, and here's where I don't have enough information. I have enough information to say that the Steele dossier is fake. What I don't know is, did Comey know it was fake? And did he still release it anyway? I suspect that he knew because of the things Tulsi has shared. All right, I think I've probably gone on long enough. I don't know that we've established anything, but we got Gap here given a guilty verdict. And Sashi, I know nothing. Greetings, everyone. All right, I'm going to call it a stream. I know this one was short. Like I say, I want to make sure to give you guys time to go to other other streams. I'm not going to promise, but I'm going to try to do a stream Saturday night. What movie did you guys end up voting for? Dark Shadows. So I'm going to get with my usual suspects and try to do some kind of watch party of Dark Shadows for Saturday. And I also want to do a Constitution series. I want to start talking about the executive branch. So there it is. Thank you all for showing up. We got at least a few new people in here. Hopefully hopefully you didn't completely hate what I did and said, even if it wasn't the most professional thing you ever saw. Let's thank and promote everybody and move on. Snortopipus Cooper, my favorite bear. Welcome, welcome. LDG hashtag free the net. Welcome, welcome. I know the time is coming soon, and I need to do better with my social media. Time is coming soon when the app's coming out, and we can be free of the tech overlords. It's coming. Resolute Germ, thank you. He's going to take streaming back up next week. I know he does lots of watch parties. He's often on panels with all kinds of wonderful people. So please check out Resolute Germ. There's some that are called Tim, FKHC 2005. Thank you very much. I hope you are doing well. Nom, 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 nom. Eating the fish given to him by Tim. Lizzie Armstrong, welcome, welcome. I hope you are doing well. I know you put out a few shorts about Australia and things like that. Gorilla's Random Thoughts, the guy who designed my intro music. Thank you very much, Gorillas. He does his cigar lounges, various watch parties, and often when events happen, he does some, I think, some very interesting talks with the panels. So, and yes, I'm sorry that I haven't been doing a very good job of scheduling lately. I'm not going to give the lame excuses, even though I have lame excuses. But DJ Play Nice, thank you very much. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for the kind comment. Resolute Germ, thank you for the super sticker. God bless you, sir. You're all very generous. And DJ Play Nice, thank you for your super sticker. Big Al Presents. I know he's going to be doing Films with Friends this Saturday. So if I do a watch party, I'm going to try to do it in a time frame that doesn't compete with that. If I can. Starting Saturday, Resolute Germ is going back to streaming at least 3 or 4 times a week. So please check him out. Big Al also does the 10-word reviews. He's going to do 31 reviews of Halloween movies under 310 words over the course of the month. Connie Cleary, please check out her material. She's got those beautiful videos of birds. And on her Fluff Chick Productions channel, she has some really crafty stuff that she does. Please check her out. She's a wonderful human being. You're all wonderful human beings, as far as I can tell. I wonder if I lost somebody. Somebody. We have a new person that I don't think has ever been here before. Gap After Dark. Welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. And if you didn't, well, my bad. But I hope you had at least a little bit of entertainment. Hopefully you learned a little tiny bit. And again, there's reasons why I'm not a judge or a prosecutor, but I think the case is stronger than the left says. But I also think that the right should be cautious about gloating too much too soon. Suzanne, meet you all the way. I don't know that you have a lot of material, but I know I've seen you on panels. So just in case, y'all check out Suzanne. She's good people. one of our people from Canada. We have a lot of people that come by from Canada. Another person that is not exactly new. One of the opposition, but has so far always been polite, and I don't necessarily agree with them, but they're hopefully good people. They haven't said anything hateful to me, so welcome, Lauren. Even though we see things differently, you're welcome here. I'm just no longer willing to not debate. And now I think I understand a little better. You're talking about this. In a nutshell, Trump's longtime lawyer is going to try to sabotage Trump. And look, again, I'm not big on legalese, but this indictment, that first indictment, I'm okay with, because if they're halfway worth their salt, they should be able to. If we can dig it up, they can dig it up. Second indictment, I don't know. It really will depend on the skill of the lawyer. Snortopoopus making what I think is a good point. Though I am pro-Trump, he is too susceptible to flattery, and he lets people fool him into appointing them. We have Charlotte Nightstar the Werewolf. Ow! Please check out her channel. She has lots of wonderful material, good interviews. She has watch parties, novels, stories, you name it, all kinds of stuff. So check her out. Spam, 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 spammity, spam, spam, spam. Sorry, I got by Gorilla's thing about spam. Gap proclaims Comey guilty. I would seriously love to know in the next few seconds what the rest of you think. Oh, good, Gap. I hope you will. I'm trying to do better. My work schedule is all messed up, and my life is kind of a weird train wreck. But I'm trying to do better with streaming. And thank you, Connie. Thank all of you. I used to have a really cool outro, and I've already forgotten most of it. But I guess the long and the short of it is, I want you all to know, in spite of what the media may say, in spite of what we in this channel may say, I mean, I know we had one dissenter in here. This counts for you too, Lauren. Even though we don't think alike, you are smart enough, good enough, wise enough to run your own life. None of us needs big governments, big corporations, or even big religion to tell us how to think and how to live our lives. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Christian. I just sometimes big formalized religion gets on my nerves. That's all. I love all of you. Thank you very much. And I hope to see some of you on Saturday. I will be doing a talk on the second article of the Constitution, the executive branch. And at some point, I'll most certainly be doing a watch party of Dark Shadows for Halloween. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.